and forgot to go to Park Ferme and was put to the back. Off go the lights, and we are racing, and there's a good start from Tordov on the outside of the front row, but as they shift into second, it looks to me as though Glue gets the momentum going and should be able to hold his position. But look at the pack coming down the inside. Simon Hill.
Yeah, look at Danny Lloyd there. Daniel Lloyd, the young man in his first season for Clio's, has been getting stronger and stronger. Great qualifying performance. He's right on the back of Phil Glue. In fact, he's looking to go to the inside. He almost touches, but they all run wide. Tordov goes off. I think that's Packard on the grass as well. Well, what do we expect with Clio's? We expect action, and that's what we get on the first corner. But it is Lloyd. Lloyd has got ahead. Daniel Lloyd takes the lead. And there's contact with Jeff Smith, who had a great qualifying, as you said earlier. And it's all kicking off in the mid-pack, isn't it?
I think we had 6 wide at one point there. I stopped counting after 5 because I had to turn away. I was so scared for what I was about to see. And there is the almost inevitable action in the midfield.
Yeah, Jeff Smith, Tom Carnaby bounced across the grass, and that was Collins and Wilson as well in the middle of that. And this is the problem with Rockingham. You get so many equal cars all concertining together into these very, very technical middle section of the lap. And inevitability is that you will get a bit of contact, but look at
problem. I love close racing like that, though.
Yeah, we love a bit of close racing, but not if it's you that gets turned around or hit or whatever. Now I'll tell you, in the mix here we've got some interesting drivers. We've got first-time race leader Daniel Lloyd, a young man, still only, I think he's just 17. His dad Neil is a massive supporter now at TCR. The car's getting stronger and stronger, edging away from the man of the year, Phil Glue, just behind him now. The interesting story behind that is the man in third place, as you see, that's Collins, I think, just trying to get himself going again. Now look at this. Around the outside tries to go Heron. Tordov outbrakes himself. Smith outbrakes himself. Packen outbrakes himself. I think Glue manages just to tuck in a little bit. That's Heron and Tordov on the grass.
There is 6 wide there,
At some point, this is on board with Tordov.
He's been kicking himself because he had a good start there.
Race winner already this year at Snetterton. There is Heron, edged a little bit wide, but I think that was Colburn. That's Jeff Smith just ahead. Alex Dew swoops across in the red car. Bit of a lock-up. Dickinson now. Somebody's hit Smith. There's the old dice being rolled in front of you there.
If you get a double 60, you go straight to the front.
There used to be a team called double 60.
That's right, the team. That was a super move down the inside by Lloyd, though. Look, he's actually got that done.
And he runs Glue out onto the curb, and Glue loses a bit of traction. So, yeah, good thinking there. Bit of a karting move there. Daniel Lloyd, of course, got himself into racing cars after winning the kart series that got him a drive with Top Width Racing in the Ginetta Juniors. That's Dickinson and Will Collins and everybody kicking off in the middle. This is that on board with Tordov. Where's Dew come from?
Second lap.
Oh, yeah, exactly. He get clattered into by, I can't quite see, was that Patterson? I think that might have been that hit him.
And amazingly, we've managed to get through that and get everything cleared up. And everybody continues. So
what a recovery from Newsham. Sorry, John, to talk over you there. Newsham from the back. We talked about him. Basically, at the end of qualifying, you have to go to Park Ferme, even if you finish qualifying early. And a bit of a mistake by either him or the team or both, not sure whose fault it was, but it went straight back to the paddock, which is on the other side of the circuit here at Rockingham. They actually go through the tunnel. And in doing that, it meant that technically speaking, you're going to get your times disallowed. It was a real shame for him because he'd done the job on the circuit. No suggestion he was up to anything untoward, but rules is rules, as they say. And unfortunately for Dave, a bit of a mistake after winning at Silverstone as well. Great disappointment.
Emery Motorsport and Dave Newsham will be slightly disappointed by that because he put in a very good, as I say, it was good enough for front row. Now there is Carl Bradley in the Coastal sponsored car coming up onto the banking. Just interesting to see the variety of lines that you do get coming up onto that banking. It's these little front wheel drive cars really struggle for grip as they go up the hill there. Easy to unload one of the wheels, you get a bit of wheel spin. Oh, now that's a good effort as well by Danny Buxton.
Yeah, back in the series after an enormous miss of racing. You know, he's been away from racing for a long time. He's been working with Amory Motorsport with Newsham and trying to help Newsham's challenge to get him up into potentially second in the championship. I think Glue might be a little bit unassailable realistically for Newsham, but Danny Buxton, of course, a former Clio Cup champion, and I remember him driving an absolutely perfect race here in 2003. Wheel perfect. I think the quote that I made at the time was that any young racing driver watching how to do it, watch what Danny Buxton did on the day, and he's been coaching young Mitchell Hale in the Ginetta Juniors as well and managing him too. So been involved, been around him and his business partner Tom Ferrier, another top driver of note. Have been working together to do a lot of coaching and driver development work, and it's great to see Danny back in motorsport at top level. Alex Stew, maybe that contact was a bit too much for him as he retires the snap-on car.
Still Lloyd leading. Dan Lloyd with the man of the year as far as Clio's is concerned. Phil Glue in an uncustomary second place. That said, that will not faze Phil at all. He has been able to win races from the front. He's come from further down if he's needed to, and at the moment he's got to be thinking championship, Simon. I know he wants to win as many races as possible and go for the race record, but no point in sticking your nose in where it's not wanted, particularly somewhere like this at Rockingham, where you could quite easily do the car for not just this round but the next round. This is the first of two, of course, at this venue. See them both here on Motorsport UK, and then that would be, despite the 80-odd point lead, that would be disaster, wouldn't it?
It would be a massive disaster, but the only thing you can say is that because he's finished every race, I suppose if he didn't finish, then that would be a drop score that kind of almost gives you some points back. Mike Robinson coming through from not the ideal qualifying from his point of view, had a real disappointing time. Patterson gets past Colburn as well. At Silverstone did Robinson, and didn't qualify because of problem. I think he had a puncture in qualifying, but he made a really good job. I think he got fastest lap in both races. Robinson, another one that we think that, you know, if he comes back again for next year, as Bradley, there's so many drivers here that I'd love to see back in it next year, because I think there's probably 10 drivers you could see as potential race winners and maybe championship challengers.
Well, the interesting thing is that there isn't an obvious place for some of these drivers to graduate up into. On the British Touring Car Championship in the past, there has been another tin top series just above the Clio, slightly more powerful cars in the past. That's not the case now. It would be going to something like Ginetta's, which not everybody might want to do. Certainly if you're a front wheel drive expert, going into something like a Ginetta, a purpose-built racing car, rather than a racing car derived from a hatchback, that's something very different again, and it's a big step financially.
Yeah, it is. That's the key thing. It's about money, about driving technique, and also about where you want to be. I mean, logically, we've seen Tom Onslow Cole and Jonathan Adam, the two drivers that have come out of Clio Cup as champions, go into touring cars and be massively quick. Matt Jackson, another former Clio Cup racer, and I think that's where Phil Glue wants to be. In fact, I know that's where Phil Glue wants to be. Danny Buxton.
He'll tell you that all day, won't he?
He will. Danny Buxton, in fact, went from Clio Cup into touring cars with Team Halfords, as was when they had the 307s racing in 03.
Here's a bit of a challenge from Phil Glue. He's closed up and he's closer now to Lloyd than he has been for some time. Almost, well, was forcing Lloyd into a slightly defensive line into the hairpin last time around, where Simon and I were talking about career progression. So let's keep an eye on this battle for the lead, because all of a sudden it seems to me, oh, and was that just a little mistake by the leader? Phil Glue took an odd line there, but I think that was because he sussed the mistake from the leader, Dan Lloyd, and he's cost himself a bit of momentum coming out there. That is quite heavily uphill, and can Glue go all the way out round the outside into the chicane? He can't do it, but just a bit of momentum lost there, Simon, by Daniel Lloyd, and that gave a sniff of a chance to Phil Glue in second place.
Yeah, Daniel Lloyd under pressure stuff.